Welcome back. Okay, today we're unpacking a dish that is visually absolutely stunning, but honestly, it can be notoriously intimidating for beginners. I'm talking about Khao Kluk Kapi, or shrimp paste fried rice. If you've ever ordered this at a Thai restaurant, you know it arrives as this magnificent giant platter, just a mountain of deeply flavorful rice surrounded by what looks like an endless wheel of intricate, colorful side dishes. It looks like an absolute marathon to prepare. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be? As we go through this explainer, you're going to see how this complex masterpiece breaks down into super manageable, easy steps. By the time we're done, we are going to conquer this together, and you'll see just how accessible making this at home really is. Think of this as your visual roadmap. We're turning this restaurant-quality plate into just 5 easy mini missions. 1. Easy for beginners prep. 2. Fragrant fried rice secrets. 3. Perfecting side dishes. 4. Balanced sweet pork. And finally, 5. The heart of flavor. Okay, let's dive straight into this. Mission 1. Easy for beginners prep work. This is all the effortless stuff you do before you even think about turning on the stove. So here's your fresh ingredients checklist. You're going to want to shred up some sour mango, chop your cucumber and yard-long beans, and slice up some shallots. Now, here is a really great pro tip for you. Take those sliced shallots and divide them into 2 separate piles right now. One pile is for your fresh side garnishes, and the other is going to be absolutely crucial later for the sweet pork. Next, chop up some bird's eye or ginger chilies. And hey, the beauty of cooking this at home, you get to completely customize that spice level to your own tolerance. Add a little, add a lot, totally up to you. Finally, just cut up some lime wedges for that much-needed kick of fresh acidity. Now, right before we leave the prep station, we gotta talk about the pork belly. When you slice it, you really need to keep the pieces small, like truly bite-sized. Why does this matter so much? Well, Khao Kluk Kapi is basically an exercise in crafting the perfect bite. If your pork belly chunks are too massive, they're just gonna completely overwhelm your palate. By keeping them small, you guarantee that every single spoonful you take has this absolutely perfect, harmonious ratio of meat, rice, and fresh sides. All right, prep is done. Let's move right along to mission 2, fragrant fried rice secrets. Getting this foundation right literally sets the tone for everything else. Cooking the rice itself is just a simple 3-step process. First up, you're gonna fry crushed garlic in a little bit of oil. Just imagine that amazing smell filling your kitchen right now as the garlic turns this beautiful golden brown. Then, lower your heat, add in your shrimp paste, and here's a clever little trick. Add a quick splash of water to help dissolve it. Finally, gradually toss in your cooked jasmine rice. Just keep tossing it until every single grain is thoroughly coated and warm. But wait. So the crucial point here, and this is probably the biggest beginner mistake we see, is that you absolutely must cook the shrimp paste thoroughly before the rice ever enters the pan. No joke. If raw shrimp paste just gets carelessly tossed in with the rice, it is not going to develop that deep, appetizing aroma we want. You really have to be patient, keep the heat low, and gently fry that paste with your splash of water until it smells absolutely incredible. And while we're on the topic of shrimp paste, here is a brilliant tip to save your entire dish from disaster. Always add your cooked shrimp paste to the rice little by little. Why? Because different brands of shrimp paste vary wildly in how salty they are. So mix a bit in, give it a taste, and just add more if you need it. And the best part? If you accidentally fry up too much paste, no big deal. You can easily store the leftovers in the fridge for your next batch. Boom! Rice is done. Let's celebrate that and jump right into mission 3, perfecting the side dishes. These can be tricky, but we've got foolproof techniques for you. First up, dried shrimp. Believe it or not, a really simple choice at the grocery store completely changes the texture of your final plate. If you go for the thin, flat, dried shrimp, those guys become wonderfully crispy when you fry them. But if you accidentally grab the thick, round ones, frying them will just make them tough and honestly incredibly hard to chew. It's such a small detail, but it makes a massive difference in the eating experience. Next is the Chinese sausage, or guanxiang. I am so excited to share this secret with you. Do not use oil. Seriously, instead, we're using a technique called water frying. You just add the sausage to a pan with just enough water to boil it. As that water naturally evaporates, it safely cooks the sausage and begins to render out the meat's own natural fats. It ends up crisping up beautifully in its own fat, leaving this gorgeous golden finish without burning. And burning is exactly what happens so easily if you try to use hot oil. Okay, for the egg garnish, you just want to coat your pan with a teeny tiny touch of oil. We're creating a super thin sheet of egg, which you'll gently roll up and slice into little ribbons. But here is something absolutely crucial. Do not heavily season this egg. Keep the flavor really, really mild. Think about it. The rice and the other sides are incredibly bold. So this mild egg is actually meant to act as a gentle palate cleanser to balance out those intense, punchy flavors. Moving right along to Mission 4, the balanced sweet pork, also known as Moo Waan. This right here is the absolute hero component of the dish. It requires a little bit of patience, but it delivers massive flavor. Let's walk through the sizzling process. Remember those shallots we set aside way back in step 1? You're going to fry those up with your bite-sized pork belly over high heat to get a really beautiful sear and a rich aroma. Once it's seared, add some water to simmer and soften the meat. And then comes the magic. You season it with dark soy sauce for that gorgeous color, some fish sauce, and palm sugar. Then just let it simmer and reduce for about 15 to 20 minutes until that sauce becomes wonderfully thick, sticky, and glossy. And this brilliantly illustrates the golden rule of this entire dish. Listen to this specific advice from our source. Let sweet lead the salty. Why is that so important? Because you are pairing this pork with the shrimp paste fried rice, which is already packed with savory, salty, umami. If your pork is highly salted too, the dish is basically ruined. The pork must be distinctly, intentionally sweet to act as the perfect counterweight. Which brings us to our final mission, Section 5, the heart of flavor. We're moving from just following a recipe to actual culinary flavor theory. Let's break down how a chef actually thinks about a plate. It is an ecosystem of taste. Think about this harmony. We have the deep, intense umami and saltiness acting as the firm foundation in our shrimp paste rice. Then we layer on top of that the rich, sticky sweetness of the pork. And right when that richness threatens to become almost too much, we introduce the bright, refreshing, sour zing of the shredded mango and fresh lime juice. When you scoop all of this together onto your spoon, along with the crispiness of the dried shrimp and the fiery heat of the chili, it combines into perfect, absolute harmony in a single bite. You see, the secret to deliciousness isn't just mindlessly following a list of ingredients. It's deeply understanding that balance. You have just seen firsthand how to manage sweet, salty, sour, and umami in one of the most intimidating dishes out there. And honestly, once you master that flavor balance, absolutely no complex dish is out of your reach. So now that you're armed with the theory of flavor harmony, what is your next culinary challenge going to be? Thanks so much for exploring this with me, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.